Yeah, Mr. Kobna Oche, Country Director, Compassion International. Okay. I was going to say, I don't see the lady. I want to see her before I am accused of neglecting her. So, under 30 seconds, can you tell me why you are here? Why you want to be involved in this discussion? I'll start from Mr. Oche. Under 30 seconds.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. Okay. Thank you. So I represent Compassion International, and as a child development organization, child protection is very fundamental. Our work involves around the dignity of people, and so we recognize that modern slavery in its all forms are things that impede the potentials of people, especially children. And so, having worked with Global Freedom Network, we believe that it is important to be part of this conversation to share our experiences and also to contribute to the way forward in terms of how can we amplify our work together, collectively, and also make more impact. So excited to be here.
Thank you. And before Federa comes, yes, the time was not reading, so I was going to draw the attention of the technical team, but I think they've corrected that. Fadila, right?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you very much.
Yeah.
I am Fadila Fuseni. I'm the founder and executive director of Timbaho Foundation, which is based in the northern part of the country. I'm also a health practitioner by profession, and I've been working with Timba for over a decade now. So I see that development work as a calling for me, and I'm very passionate about it in contributing to a sustainable and lasting impact to see a transformed generation and generation yet to be born. Thank you.
Yeah, Eric.
Thank you very much. I think that I've been involved in this topic, human trafficking and modern day slavery, since in 2002. And I really have worked in various areas in that area. So I believe that this conference is something that very important to my heart, and I'm happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Linus Ndigai from Interreligious Council of Kenya. I'm the Executive Director, Interreligious Council of Kenya. The reason why I'm here as a believer in interfaith dialogue as a way of solving world problems is to share with my fellow religious leaders, community leaders, and government leaders on how best we can handle the problem of modern slavery. Also to share the experiences of how we are doing it in Kenya, and also to learn from my counterparts on how they are doing it in their various countries and regions. Thank you.
Thank you, Franca.
My name is Franca Pellegrini. I'm the head of Global Freedom Network. I've had the privilege of being the head of the faith-based for nearly 8 years, and I'm here besides organising this event. I'm here to learn and to listen from all the incredible people in the room, and I'm excited just to see how government, civil society and faith leaders can work more closely together.
Thank you. Enoch.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Enoch Ederi Pufa, Program Director of Challenging Heights. Challenging Heights provides support for victims and survivors of modern slavery, particularly child trafficking, together with complementary services like livelihood support and then education. I'm here to share my views and then my ideas about how advocacy and capacity building initiatives can be used as a tool to ending modern slavery. I nearly said combat, but yesterday we were told not to use the word combat because it sounds a bit antagonistic. So I'm being mindful of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bawa.
All right. So I am Bawa Nungu Sharif, a survivor, and I think that as part of creating awareness, it will be good, if not best, that victims who might have gone through whatever ordeal with regards to slavery are part of whatever awareness that is needed to be created so that the community at large gets to understand the main issues on the ground and not base their judgments on hearsay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now that we know the motivation for which each one of us is here, Eric, I would like to start with you. I know you and I did, long back. What do you think is the role of faith leaders in advocating the effective implementation of international policies and instruments that have impact on modern slavery?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that a lot have been said since we began the thing in the morning. I just want to look at three things. One is knowledge. They should have knowledge about advocacy. Two, they should do a lot of advocacy and awareness creation. And three is partnership. Under knowledge, I believe that as faith-based organization or leaders of churches and faith-based organizations, they need to understand what the conventions are. Conventions against modern slavery, against forced labor, against abuse. Once they understand those issues, they can now translate to their people. Because most of them may not understand what the issues are. So if they don't understand it, they can't articulate it well. I realized one thing also that from this program is that the core people that I think faith-based leaders that we need to reach, who are maybe also causing most of the problems, are not in the room. I see that there are a lot of the Orthodox churches are here, but the main dynamics and charismatic people, and then they are not here. And I believe that if we want to expand those things, we should also target how we can send some of this knowledge or help them or find a way to go to their churches to make sure that they get involved in this whole campaign. That's one. Two is about awareness creation and advocacy. The pulpit is very strong in sending messages around. So if there are faith-based leaders, whether it be Muslim, whether it be Christian, whether it be traditional authorities, if we get them involved in this thing and they send a message from the pulpit to their people, it will go a long way. I'm saying this because I've rescued about a couple of girls from Kuwait and then the Gulf, Iraq, who has come to Ghana, and they were sent there by unauthorized church pastors. And so we have to find a way we have to arrest some of them to enable them bring the girls back. So if they have this education on the pulpit and they're able to do that, it will help. Then thirdly, they can work with CSOs to put government officials on accountability to make sure that government is doing the right thing as faith-based organization. And two, they can also work with CSOs to do advocacy in their various churches. But most of the CSOs are there. They don't target churches to do this outreach. So if they can collaborate with them, churches, mosques, traditional authorities, to collaborate with them to do outreach, it will go a long way to help in this issue of modern-day slavery. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. So Eric spoke about faith leaders as advocates. Fadila, what is your view of why it is important for faith leaders and community leaders to contribute to the development and implementation of policies that underpin the work that we do in response to modern-day slavery?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. And so I would also like to stand on Mr. Eric's point by also saying that a lot has been shared since morning up until now. And then it was quite interesting and exciting to see our religious leaders seated here to share their perspective about we being deliberate and intentional in terms of their inclusion to kind of influence policies or even reshape or shape policies to gear towards a sustainable development, even at the national level. And so I want to say that the one thing that's really bothered me a little bit was the fact that since they started sharing, I didn't see a traditional leader being on this panel to also share their perspective at the community level and why it is important for them to be represented at all angles, to share their insights when it comes to modern slavery and how we can all collectively, as partners or stakeholders, help put a stop to this problem. And so I think that these are stakeholders that have trust, influence, and also play a critical role with representation of their people at the community level. And so for that matter, it's very important for us to always be very deliberate about it in terms of engaging them both at the community level, the regional level, and as well the national level, because we know the power they carry and how they can influence people that they lead. And so for that matter, what do we do about it in terms of engaging them? It means that we have to be very deliberate because just to give an example of the just past years ago, we also, my fellow Ghanaians who are here, we all saw how the comprehensive sexuality education policy came about and how everybody came out strongly against it. It was because they feel that it wasn't done to kind of represent the religious reality and that of the local level reality. And that was the reason why a lot of people came out against it. And who were those who came against it? It was our religious leaders, it was our traditional leaders, and all that follow. So it is just simply telling us that they play a crucial role because they represent people. And we have to be very deliberate in terms of engaging them, in terms of including them in policy formulating, in terms of shaping and also implementation at all borders. Thank you.
Yeah. So Fadila, I'm still going to come back to you. You talk about inclusion.
Yeah.
And Eric talked about people who are supposed to be in this room who are not in this room.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Do you
Yes.
think there are people who are supposed to be here who are not here?
Yes, I totally agree because as an individual, I promote inclusion a lot, and that also includes persons living with disability. And of course, I can testify to the fact that we don't have such people represented here. And their voices as well matter. Because in terms of policies, we are very deliberate in terms of including them. But what are their perspectives? Do we include them in terms of discussions like this? A high-level discussions, do we include them? Do we even give them that platform for them to even share with us what their concerns and problems are? So that is one. And then two, we cannot also ignore the fact that we have persons excluded marginalized groups within our communities. Their representation is very important. And so in terms of deliberation, in terms of being intentional, these are people that we need to include at every step of what we are planning to do to sustain our communities. And talking about modern slavery, of course, we cannot ignore the fact that these are people that are living with us every day. We are in the same society with them. Their minds, their ideas, and perspective is, of course, important and is needed in terms of formulation and also implementation.
Yeah, I think that this particular question, I'll come back to Eric about it. But let me go to Enoch. Fadila has spoken about how faith leaders can contribute to the development and implementation of policies through their moral authority and advocacy power. But equally important are awareness raising and capacity building. You are on the ground, Enoch. Are awareness raising and capacity building of communities and individuals by civil society organizations that effective? Do you think they are effective tools in combating modern slavery?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I see awareness raising as a very essential or a necessary tool in our quest to ending modern slavery. Why do I say so? The previous section, Reverend Labi highlighted poverty as a driving force, and that is very true for those of us who are CSOs and NGO workers. Behind every story of modern slavery, any issue of trafficking, when you go down, it is always underpinned by a story of poverty, a story of vulnerability, a story of deprivation. What does this mean? This leads to other driving forces of modern slavery. Ignorance is one of them. People do not know about the ultimate consequence of some of the actions that they are taking. So what this means is that there must be deliberate effort towards educating the people, creating awareness at the community level in particular, where the problem persists. And the issue is, the longer these forces, the issues of poverty, ignorance, and all the other drivers of modern slavery continues to persist, awareness raising becomes imperative. It reinforces the need for us to continue to create awareness and then embark on capacity building initiatives at the community level. When we do that, if you build capacity of people and you take capacity building initiatives, you create awareness at the community level. What does it do? People become empowered. You create change leaders within the communities themselves, so that we as NGOs who cannot be there throughout every day, the government institutions obviously cannot also be there every day. So through this, if you're able to empower people, or at least some groups of people within the community, they are able to take the fight on themselves. They own it, thereby making it more sustainable, other than the NGOs continues like having to go there all the time to do it. So it's really a critical tool for us to continue using, and its essence cannot be overlooked. If we go to some of the communities, Abina spoke about the CCPCs. CCPCs remain one of the most sustainable structures in terms of the quest to end modern slavery at the community level. You have them, and the composition of it is such that you have religious and faith-based leaders as part of them. You have the religious, the traditional leaders as part of them. You have women leaders as part of them. We even have some students or survivors or children like who are themselves members of the CCPCs. This means that it cuts across their membership and their composition cuts across the various segments of the community that reflects the needs of the community in such a way that when they are advocating or they are embarking on awareness raising, they are able to address and appeal to the various segments of the society. And beyond that, a religious leader who uses the pulpit or the mosque is able to speak to only those within his or her faith or denomination. But through the community level awareness raising, if you have a pastor standing at the community center or in a sensitization or awareness creation program and appealing to the general community, obviously that pastor or religious leader has other admirers and people who respect him or her in his own right. So the practice of using awareness raising creates a platform where the various actors can reach out to the entire segment of the community. So yes, just to restate, awareness raising and then capacity building initiatives are very critical and are relevant, and NGOs and CSOs like ourselves and other organizations represented here have been using this as a tool to in our quest to end modern slavery.
Okay, thank you. Let me come to Linus. So we have heard from Eric, and we have heard from Fidela. I think I have to be mindful of how I pronounce Fadila, right?
Yes.
And then we have heard from Enoch. They have discussed the role of faith leaders and CSOs in responding to modern slavery. So how can faith leaders and faith-based organizations be strengthened? And this one too has to do with capacity. How can they be strengthened so that they can utilize their resources, including churches, mosques, and schools, to fight modern slavery? So we have reversed the conversation. First was the individuals. Now we have come to the institutions. How can they use their pulpit? How can they use their institutions, the churches, the mosques, to fight against modern slavery as a resource?
Thank you. Thank you again for the question. I would like to first identify and recognize that faith institutions and faith-based institutions are found across every society and every community. Borrowing from Kenya, these institutions are found even in places where government is not found. So building on that, we need to recognize that when we build their capacity, then that capacity is cascaded down to each and every village. So that's a very good question. How this can be done is one, by training and empowering the religious leaders, giving them the skills to be able to identify every form of modern slavery. Again, we need to understand that modern slavery is not uniform. It doesn't happen in every community, in every country, in every society in the same way. You will find that in one community, child marriage is higher than forced marriage. You will find in one community there is more of migration than child marriage. So we need to strengthen the religious leaders, the faith institutions in each and a particular community to be able to identify the form of modern slavery that is taking place in their area. We should also strengthen them and build their capacity to be able to respond appropriately to the identified forms of modern slavery. The other thing is that for us to get the best benefit out of these institutions is to link them with existing structures, and especially structures that are government-led or government-owned, because we have seen scenarios where the government is fighting this problem alone. And if the government can integrate these institutions in the fight against modern slavery, then the chances are very high that greater success will be achieved. So the linkages, capacity building, and empowering to be able to identify, and also enabling them to react and respond is very critical. Another key thing is that through recognizing the role of religious leaders is to empower them to change narratives. We all believe, or from Kenya, Intelligence Council of Kenya, we believe that the world is ruled by narratives. So if we create formidable narratives, if we create narratives that are convincing to each and every society, then our chances of changing the social norms, changing the mindset of them that believe marrying off small girls is okay, it will change. For them that believe, as we had in the morning, that young men are sent outside the country to go and earn a living, they go live there as slaves just because the society expects too much of them. So we need to change the narrative. And by changing the narrative, we are going to reduce the levels of modern slavery, because we will win more and we will change the social norms in each and every community. Thank you.
Thank you, Niles. So we have highlighted how CSOs and faith-based organizations build capacity to combat, and for want of a better word, to combat modern slavery. We have also highlighted the role of community and faith leaders in shaping effective policy. Kobna, in your experience, what innovative strategies or partnerships have you seen as the most effective way for building lasting capacity in fighting modern slavery? And how can these approaches directly inform and strengthen evidence-based policy making?
All right, thank you. I think that's a loaded question. But first of all, let me say that the issues we are dealing with are matters of rights, and they are matters of dignity of people. And as we've heard a lot from the morning, the state has the mandate to ensure that children, adults, everyone is protected. And for it to be effective, there are laws that are available. The Constitution provides for the legal framework for the protection of people. The whole of Chapter 5 is about human rights, the right to life, dignity, liberty, and all of that. So the laws are there. And what it means is that there's that expectation that institutions that are mandated to enforce them and apply them would do so for the protection of everyone, including children and adults as such. Now, it is important that we also look at the different levels of contributions to the to the presence of modern slavery. I think we've heard from the room the different manifestations at the community level, the various institutions that are responsible for it, at the meso level, regional levels, the way they are manifested, and at the national level, the way they are manifested. And each of these have to be tackled differently, taking into account the stakeholders involved, their mandate, and also the capacity that exists. Now, let me start off from the community level, where Compassion has had great collaboration with Global Freedom Network in partnership in providing some information. First, it is important to demystify the issues. I think the modern slavery itself, as a term, is a legal term. It's quite broad in its sense. But when you look at the various elements of it, there are things that relate to the day-to-day realities of people. The child who is into child labor is a son, a brother to somebody. The girl who is married off is a sister and a daughter of somebody. And it is important that we bring those realities to people. And so when people recognize that I'm actually marrying my sister off, would I want that to happen? When people recognize that I'm actually putting my child into danger, and that means that the future of that child is likely to be lost, is that what I want for that child? And I think it is important that the messaging and the communication at the community level is very much simplified and demystified so that people can connect to it on the day-to-day reality as something they live with. The second thing that I want to add is that it has to be rooted in the lived experiences. When we hear the stories of people, I heard Eric sharing about rescuing girls from Kuwait. And I'm thinking, okay, that could be my sister. That could be my friend's daughter. That could be somebody else that I know. So these are people. They are not numbers. They are not abstract. They are people. And so it is important that we share the lived stories, the harrowing part, but also the messaging of hope, the rescues that happen and the opportunities that are available to them. It makes a difference. The other thing that I also want to touch on, especially in relation to our religious leaders who are go-to people for counseling, for support, is the opportunity to share hope. When people live in hopelessness, the next option is where is hope? Where's the next option of hope? And that's why people would walk through the desert with all that we know, just to ensure that they're going to have a life somewhere. That is why a girl will be sold off, so that a family thinks that is the only hope that I have. But if the messaging from our religious leaders, from people around, is that it doesn't matter the present situation, there's hope, there's opportunity, and we can work to connect them to those, it settles people, and it makes people become less the pace and the readiness at which they would want to take set risky decisions to sell off their children become less. Now, the other thing that I would want to touch on also is about partnership. Advocacy have to be smart, inclusive, efficient, and effective. Compassion International, for instance, we didn't have to develop materials on modern slavery. We had to leverage on what Global Freedom Network had, and that is partnership and collaboration. So it's efficient. We didn't have to invest in that, but we also reach many more because we are working together with the platforms and the networks of organizations that we have. So I really want to encourage that collaboration is very much an essential part in ensuring that we are effective and efficient in what we are doing. The last but one thing that I want to share has to do with um, the extent to which we leverage on digital platforms. It's a key part. Now the internet penetration and access to technology has grown exponentially in the last few years. And there are some who would shy away because the messaging and the content we come into contact with are things that perhaps we don't like. But my point always is if we don't like it, then put what you like over there. And the same thing is what we can say about matters of modern slavery. We can amplify our voices through those digital platforms and channels and equally leverage on ambassadorial roles. For me, I think we need to look at the different demographics. When I stand in front of a people and I'm talking, the extent to which they will take my message is different from if I bring another person of their peers, people who have similar experiences. And I think we need to diversify the the people who are front sharing the various communication activities, depending on the demography of the group, depending on the experiences, depending on geography, language, and many other situations that we need to take into account. Thank you.
Yeah, Governor, before you leave, I think there are two things that I quickly want to get back to you on. One, you mentioned internet. Now, my question is, do you see internet as a form of vulnerability or strength, especially looking at new forms of slavery that are emerging on the internet, which is even distorting this definition of human trafficking? So that is one. Number two is, do you see any gap in leveraging technology
Okay.
or innovation?
Okay. So I think the point of technology as an is a double-edged sword. I would say it depends on in whose hands it is. And I dare say, I dare say, it could say the same thing with the Bible. It depends on whose hands it is. It could be used for exploitation purposes, but it could be used to offer a message of hope, depending on who is holding it. Recently, I was doing some bit of reading, and it got to a point that I became so familiar with almost all the adverts that comes when you are streaming on YouTube. So I'm reading, and maybe some 15 seconds down the line, an advert would pop up, and I'm like, okay, are you 40 years and above? Are you waiting to use AI? Stop using, join the 28-day thing. So what it means is there are people who are very much conscious of promoting specific content. And I think that is the same way we have to take that approach. It's a double-edged sword. So the same way it is used in the hands of people to promote a certain content to say, well, we have a travel opportunity to the Gulf. If you are 18 years and a girl, can you just join register? We could equally take the same opportunity and platforms to send messaging around how it is that people have been duped, how it is that people have been exploited into getting themselves enslaved just because they wanted to access an opportunity. With respect to gaps, what I would say is that we need to enhance the regulatory frameworks around it. The question is, when you're looking at a certain advert, who authorized it? If it is coming from, if whoever is putting up is in the Kuwait, is in the Gulf and all of that, what does that mean for the person viewing it in Ghana? What are the regulatory mechanisms around it? Who controls it? So if the content is just produced and pushed without, and that is not to me we have to guard. That's not the same as saying that we need to begin to censor, but it has to be regulated to ensure that those who need to access are accessing, and their protection for children, their protection for adults. My biggest concern is really for children these days. They have access to gadgets because of parental availability. Somebody mentioned it this afternoon. And because of that, there are people who are pushing content of all forms And so the mindset is that even in the place you live, you can't make it unless you travel to Accra or you travel to the US or Canada, because those are the adverts you are seeing when they pop up. What do they mean for that? What do they mean for us? So for me, there's the bit around regulation. And I think with respect to advocacy, if we're more collective and amplified voice on these matters, because they affect us. And like I said, they affect our brothers, our sisters, our daughters, and the people who experience them are very much close to us. They are not far from us.
Thank you. We have heard about the importance of strengthening the capacity of civil society actors. We want to flip the coin. What about the other way around? How can civil society strengthen the capacity of state actors and faith leaders to respond to modern slavery through the development and provision of targeted tools and resources? Franca.
Thanks, James. Civil society have a very important role in supporting faith leaders and state actors. I think what's really important and something we've learned along the way is just making sure that you're working alongside, listening and co-creating these tools. And I'll start with a story when GFN, when we first started working in Ghana. So I came here in 2019 with the plan of setting up the declaration signing. And then after meeting quite a few faith leaders, I actually was with Francis Poku and we met with Archbishop Bonaventure, and he asked me what modern slavery was. And he said, I'm aware of what human trafficking is. And that's when I realised that we weren't going to do a signing straight away. And it was going back and realising that a lot of the faith leaders didn't understand what sat under that umbrella, like forced and child marriage, for example. So from there, that's when we developed the app. So I spoke to and many faith leaders that are here today. Quite a few of them helped us come up with that tool, deciding on what was going to be in that. So that's when that was launched here in 2021. But it wasn't, really, in terms of why it was an app, is because Africa's obviously very connected. Technology is huge in this continent, and you can take that app anywhere. So we've done quite a bit of work with Compassion International, with their church partners, and also with IRCK as well with the app. So that's really one story in terms of how we came up with that tool, but hand in hand working with what we call advisory panels. So we have a advisory panel in Kenya and in Ghana and in DRC in South Africa and Australia as well. So that's one idea of some work we've done here, listening to faith leaders. The other one is the poster campaigns. That wasn't something that came from us. That was actually listening to the faith leaders, listening to them say there's an issue with people crossing borders to Burkina Faso or other countries, and then that's the idea where it came together to do a campaign and the posters with the VIP bus stations. And again, same with the forced and child marriage and the forced labour poster campaign. Again, that was listening to the faith leaders and what they thought was important and something that was happening, reality on the ground. So they're just some examples of some work that we've done together. But I think it's just very important that it's collaborative. It's about listening. It's not about us telling, faith leaders what they need to do. It's about, us both using our skills to come together.
Thank you. I think I wanted to go back to Eric because and that draws me to Franca, what you just mentioned. If you look at the panel, all that we are talking about is about what influencing policy, advocacy, capacity building, and all of that. And this is something that we are doing to carry a message across. So all of us here, including all the members of the audience, are supposed to carry this message across. Now, the one theme that keeps coming through, even from the previous panel, is whether or not everyone that is supposed to be here has been here. And Fadila alluded to that. My thinking was there was a reference to whether or not even the faith leaders who were here were represented, like overall represented, because there's an issue of prophets, some prophets. I'm not going to say fake prophets, but like certain types of prophets who are known or noted to be the one who victimize their church members. And so I was wondering whether their absence makes any difference in some of these conversations, not only in the panel, but some of these room conversations. And we have some small time that I wanted us to deal with it before I come to Bawa. Eric, would you want to say something about that?
Thank you very much. At times, sorry to say use the word, you may preach to the Pope, and you're not doing anything. Instead of preaching to the audience, you are preaching to people who knows already. I think the faith-based leaders who are here, some of them or most of them are aware about some of these issues. So reaching out to them is not difficult. But from my experience and the work I've been done in so many countries, those who are really, really that we need to talk to or to get them to a room for these discussions are the other group of churches, not only Orthodox. I think almost all here are Orthodox, though we have one or two of them, but those are the new coming and fast, let's say, growing or something churches that's coming now, that we need to reach out to them. Because I can tell you for a fact that even as I speak now, about a week ago, I had a message from some people from Iraq, is it Kurdistan, about seven of the girls who are still stuck there. Who took them there? A pastor. So I believe that if we can also, we are all not in the room yet. Let's try as we are moving on. Let's get some of them on board. Get them into, I don't know how the faith-based group, the pastors group who are here, the religious group who are here, can include the other pastors into a conversation, because you are aware, you know what is happening. But most of them, they are not aware. The first time you go there, bring your passport. I'll pray for you. Okay. It means that if you don't travel, you don't make it. And some of them are already agents. They are not even registered with the labor department, but they are taking people out. So if we can look at how we can get them on the table, get them in the room to discuss some of these issues in the next 10 years of GFN time, we can look at how we can bring them together. It will help a lot. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Eric. So that links then to my next question to Bawa. We've heard from other panelists about the importance of raising awareness and building capacity. This then lays the foundation. The question is, what do you think is needed to ensure that action continues and never lose momentum? Because obviously, not everyone is in the room now. So how do we ensure that from this room, action will continue, especially at the community level? How can faith and civil society actors help maintain consistent engagement and accountability among all stakeholders, including government?
Thank you for the question. Please. Am I heard?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, thank you for the question. I will respond to your question on 3 pillars. One has to do with the role of ambassadors in creating awareness, building capacity, as well as sensitization of community members on why issues of slavery in whatever form they come are not the best to go by. Take, for instance, if survivors or victims who might have gone through such ordeals are part of the ambassadorial roles, that is to create awareness, to build capacity. The message will be well said to the understanding of each and everyone in the community level, because these individuals, like me, would have been able to tell the true story on the on the ground, so that going forward, community members at large will embrace whatever message they give out to them. So I think to be able to win the fight against modern day slavery, the role of ambassadors shouldn't be underestimated. Yeah, that is the first pillar. The second pillar has to do with the government, by ensuring that at least it is able to increase budgetary allocations to state institutions such as the anti-human trafficking unit, as well as the social the social welfare department, so that they are able to swiftly respond to issues regarding modern day slavery wherever the people who matter or raise concerns are, they are able to reach them. Take, for instance, there was a time I made a visitation to an assembly, that is a municipal assembly to be precise, and I happened to speak with a coordinator, was a director of Department of Social Welfare. And then what he could tell me was that they were not able to sometimes reach people, especially girls, who were forced into marriages because of funding and all of that. So going forward, if we are able to speak or reach out to government so that they increase budgetary allocations to this kind of state institutions, so that they take up their responsibilities in communities, it will go a long way to help put a stop to issues of modern day slavery. Yes, last but not least, that is the last pillar. I think that one of the major root cause of slavery is poverty. Taking into consideration where I come from the northern part of this country, where in fact, poverty is really dealing with people there. And that is why people will be willing to allow their children, like me, to go out there for just a peanut. And I think that going forward, government as well as state agencies, including NGOs, and then all persons who matter, will collaborate to making sure that at least living standards of human beings get improved. For instance, if they are able to collaborate enough to enroll or embark on initiatives such as farming, where farmers are able to access credit, so that maybe at the end of the season they are able to pay back, at least it will help to raise the level of income that parents or guardians will have in their package, so that they are able to take care of their children and not listen to pressures that will come that, oh, I would like to have your child or your ward to help me do this or do that. Meanwhile, in the long run, it wouldn't be the same as the message that was said to the parent or the guardian. Thank you.
Thank you. So you have all heard the panelists, and now I invite Kofi to take over. And I think we have saved a little bit more time, so we will have more time to answer questions. Yes.
Okay, so you know the drill. Just raise your hand, your name, organization, brief. Okay.
Hello. My name is
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
My name is Zakari. I represent Federation of Muslim Women Association in Ghana, FOMWAC. Yes, about inclusion. This whole issue of modern day slavery borders on labor migration. I've seen some institutions here, but I haven't seen Ministry of Labor here. I think we should get them included so that they educate people on how to sign MOU with these labor agencies in other countries. By doing so, we'll be able to introduce our youth to ethical labor migration? Thank you.
Straight to the point. Hands. It's normally like this after lunch, you know. Yeah. You want to go? All right.
Yo, thank you. My name is Reverend Dr. Moses. I'm still speaking in the behalf of the pastors, because I'm a pastor. Because the light is always thrown on the pastors. And the problem which is going on nowadays is that some pastors are not aware of all that we are hearing now. I'm a pastor. Immediately after prayer, somebody will just come in. Oh, I'm working with government agencies. Oh, I can give your people passport. Oh, within 1 week, within 2 weeks, they'll travel UK, wherever you want. They'll say, okay, yes, you let me connect them to you.
So full.
By doing all this, because of
So full.
you know, as you know, because of doing this, then the pastor is falling victim. You don't know anything about it. But the person come in that I want to help you. I want to help your member.
So full. You don't verify.
That's what is happening. So I'm speaking in the behalf of the pastors.
So far, you have to
Some
verify.
churches,
You have to
true.
verify when they say they are coming from the government. You can't just give them to them like that. No. So far, you have to verify. All right.
Hi, my name is Sherry Knott. I'm also known as Missy Resilience. I represent the Sherry Knott Real Life Foundation. I just wanted to second what he said. I am an ex-survivor of human trafficking, but now I say I'm a provider, right? But he's 100% right. Regarding my case, it was a member in the church who came, stood in front of the podium, stated that he has an opportunity for literally the church members. The pastor had no idea about it. The elders have no idea about it. This is also another member of the church. The pastor thought, okay, wow, then this is a great opportunity. And that was how come I was trafficked to Iraq. So he's 100% right. It happens like that too.
Thank you very much. I'm Richard, IJM. I just want to talk briefly on the issue of poverty. I think that sometimes we are overemphasizing the poverty situation. Why? If somebody can raise 50,000 Ghana cedis, 100,000 Ghana cedis to travel to the Gulf, is that poverty? So, the underpinning it may be other issues apart from poverty. Because if you have 50,000 Ghana cedis in Ghana and you are ready to work with it, so for me, let's interrogate the issue of poverty well.
It's like crowdfunding, you know? All right. Hello.
Okay, my name is Dede Mensah from the Department of Social Welfare. So with the awareness, my church, for instance, it's not every time that we talk about messages from the pulpit. So once in every 2 months, we talk about social issues where people are invited from various organizations to throw light on certain issues that are troubling us as a people. The last social engagement we had was introducing children to screen time. So I believe that as faith leaders, we should also incorporate these things into our pulpit messages so that it will also get to the people. Secondly, I also believe that beyond the dialogue that we always gather to have, social media has become a very powerful tool that we are actually not capping on. You go to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Now these have become very powerful tools that they are able to reach people. In just 1 minute, we can create awareness, get people to share to other people so that they will all come to the realization that this modern day slavery is actually deepening into the canker of society. And lastly, I also want to mention that sometimes when we go to the communities, we actually think that the traditional leaders are the most powerful, but there are actually some youthful groups or youth leaders within the communities. And before even the traditional leaders hear about some of these things happening in the communities, these youth groups and leaders are actually already aware. But because they believe they have not been invited onto the table for these discussions, they are also reluctant to do anything about it. So beyond the traditional leaders, let's go deep within the community and engage these youth groups, and I believe it will help. Thank you.
There's a reason why Ghanaian politicians do keep fit exercises with young people. Yes, there's a reason.
Hello, my name is Michael Adoduaji from GBC. I wanted to ask if the panels that we are having, we've considered our brothers with physically challenged, because when we are talking about migration, some of them who goes and then experiences sometimes come back home with, excuse me to say, one of their legs off, hands off. And then when we are talking about education, I think we can also put or factor them into our education so that they can share their experience. And by so doing, people will even retreat from going to. Thank you.
All right, we are almost. You wanted one? Okay, briefly.
Thank you. Shaibu Adamu from the Islamic Education Unit. Mentioning education, this brings to mind, can't we inculcate, because everything that we are doing here is about education. And to start it, we have to get the education right to the learners so that once they grow with it, then they will begin to understand what it means. But if you are talking at this level and we think that these are children, it is not their time, how would they be able to? Because I went to a school and a thief came to the school. He stole the teacher's phone in the classroom. The children were watching, they didn't say anything. As he went out, they were following him slowly, slowly. When he turned the curve, they said, give our teacher's phone to us. Because there has been an incident, and the headmaster told them that if somebody enters your classroom, study him and watch his movement very well. So education is key in everything that we do. So let's see how we can do this.
Kiddie neighborhood watch, man. All right.
Thank you very much. I just want to throw a bit of clarification with respect to our brother who has a concern about emphasis on poverty. The issue being discussed here, we should bear in mind that it's a lure with a target towards both people who are economically empowered to a certain extent. Then we have the marginalized people also in the system. For instance, we heard of doctors seeking greener pastures. We heard of undergraduates seeking greener pastures. Somebody came, I was in UCC. Most of my mates said, okay, from here, I'm going outside there. So the target is both people who are strengthened to some extent, and then those living in abject poverty as well. Offering a solution to it, suggestion, which can be a solution to the problem. Like I've already said, we, the faith-based organization, I see us like military personnel trained at a sanctuary or whatever. In our community, the battlefield, let us organize activity to make impact down there in our area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Asofo mpanyinfo, Imam, mena no meja no, mema obia tena se meja se wanje mahino ha. When huda brofo no wadoso ha dodo. Nti no chede anko school ha na ebe no fasu bi anyu. Wananom na onyem ya adwen. Asema wokai fiti anopa ya akodo enyumbe. Wakade ye mu bi nsor nonka ohunka. nso ebi a wɔka ne dɛ American a nkyɛ yɛbɛta ase. Next time pɔtɔ wɔnka borɔfo na mfa nti ayi aborɔfo owi a wɔnhyia mu na menkyerɛ wɔn mu. Mo nuanom mekɔ program ɔte dɛm a na mmerɛ aho. Abadi nti na mmerɛ aho. Yɛne mpanyinfo nyinaa wɔadisappoint yɛn. NGOs a wɔwɔ ha, CEOs, wɔnyɛ mba yɛ adwene a wɔadisappoint yɛn. Osiane wɔkɔ na wɔ Kenya fans na ɔyɛ dɛ wɔdze ba fie na wɔbɛkyerɛ hɛn adze a wɔfrɛfrɛ leaders bi, stakeholders bi. Wɔn mu ahen na wɔkɔ wɔn hɛn hɔ. Wɔn mu ahen. Community na ɛwɔ mu no, wɔkɔ wɔn hɛn hɔ. Wɔkɔ wɔn hɛn hɔ. Hello, wɔn kyerɛ m. Wɔn na wɔkɔ. Yɛn mu ahen na yɛkɔ chapel. Yɛn mu ahen na yɛkɔ mosque. Wehu ma mepɛ aka. Na mɔte biara menkɔ chapel. Asɔre no menyɛ bi. Menyi ɔhen wɔ me fie. Menyi ɔhenma wɔ me fie. Na mmom ɛwɔ ebusua panyin wɔ wo fie. Ana obiara wɔ ebusua. Nti yɛn mu ahen na yɛafrɛ ebusua mpanyinfo. De ebusua mpanyinfo wɔn mbra na menka asɛm nkyerɛ wɔn. Yɛn mu ahen na yɛka. Nti sisa meka da we fail yɛn na mobɔ a. Nanyin. Oh, wɔma yɛn werɛ ate. Nkyɛdɔm borɔfo nyinaa yɛn ti o. Na mmom kyɛ wɔbɛ fie na wɔbɛka mfante no, wɔbɛka twi no, wɔbɛka hawuza no, wɔbɛka ɛwɔ na yɛbɛte. Mɛdze Nyame srɛ wɔn. Wɔn hu yɛn mmɔbɔr. Osiane meyɛreka nyinaa sɛ yɛdze kɔ grassroots a nka obɛshoot up na wayɛ adze papa ama yɛn. Sisi a mewɔ missionaries bi wɔ Jordan. Last 6 months ago, was a Nyanimbe 50 was sponsor one was one Abagana. Woguo was a bit of Marco, why one passport? Na Sebio, Obino Bujaman. Obino Maria Yakayakazi, Obi Wafani Stream, Modamenta Hospital, Obidum da prison. Into so wobe fie, na wobe church room. This is your modern slavery. Orukuyen. Into papa, nana hema, ebusua penyin, one sorrow, no one ye bibia, nke onye. I be an this month ending, make or Jordan, make or prisons, when you gone for one, when you wanna kakasa. Into po chow, asuzi de yanado. Obi bialo with them hebi ofia kwa, on shisha ni penyin. Chapel na kwan komu soften ko grassroots na nyewon nkasa no enyamene padamazi yebe end meda wana ase
Nana Yedawase. And Sheikh Arami Oshaibu will give me a quick translation. Rough one.
Oh, almost a manana. One boom, 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 one boom. Nana just poured out her sentiments respect to the very subject we are dealing with. And like she said, she feels we, the leaders, have failed the community, completely. And that since morning here, we have been using English as if to say that if you cannot speak English or if you don't go to school, you have no wisdom to contribute to matters of national discourse. And that disturbs her. But that the matter we are dealing with is so important and dear to her. It makes her very, very sad that issues of such nature, we have leaders in our local communities. We have the chiefs, we have community elders, and then we have family elders. So why is it that when some of these things are happening, we don't go down to the communities and educate the leaders of the community, the chiefs, because every one of us belongs to one community or the other, or we are born into one family or the other. But that we do not do so, and so we expose our people to some of these dangers. As she speaks now, she has some missionaries in Jordan, and about 6 months ago, they have to transport certain people far away from that place to her community Some of them have been trafficked into prostitution, some other jobs where their rights have been abused. Some of them even come insane, having psychological challenges, and they are at the psychiatric hospitals. All this happening. And so she is pouring out her heart that we need to look at our modus operandi, how we enter into the community and be able to save our people. I think in summary, that's what she, yeah.
Thank you very much.
The issue, the drivers, I think we've spoken about poverty, which is circumstantial. But there are political instability, war, conflict, that put people in a very extenuating situation that they have no alternative but to seek to go out. As we speak now, for example, Sudan is torn apart. South Sudan is also suffering its own internal, having gotten their independence, they are also fighting among themselves. And other parts, if you take another part of our country now, what is happening there? And many of the young people who could grow are now running down here, and some of them, they are engaged in, they are trafficked down, and they are made to come and engage in some of the most menial jobs, some of them made to sleep in front of shops, and unscrupulous men take advantage and impregnate them and give birth to children on the street, breastfeed them on the street, and raise them on the street. That's exactly what is happening. So I want any one of you to see, how do we manage this in such a way that even if the person has to be taken out through certain opportunities, what legal framework do we need to put in place that ensures that there's the fullest protection of the rights of the person who has no alternative but to be migrated outside? I think that we need to look at that aspect.
Thank you very much, Sheikh.
Yeah.
We've got 4 minutes left, so
Yes, my attention, yes. Closing remarks under 40 seconds, because I realized that the time that they gave us, the clock was set wrong. So under 40 seconds, please. Starting from Governor.
Okay, so I mean, just to round up, I agree with what Nana Hema said, and that these issues have to be brought down to the very community level, and also to recognize that they affect people and they affect us. As stakeholders, I don't speak for GFN, but I agree that we need to have everybody here. But the truth is we can't have everybody here. So it is our collective responsibility to also ensure that we take the message out and get everybody involved.
Thank you. Fadila.
Okay, I seize this opportunity to say thank you to the organizers of this program for at least putting up this and bringing all persons that matters to at least dialogue and also share perspective with respect to the issue at hand. So what I will leave us with is, I think one of our panelists made mention that let's together turn faith into action and action into freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric?
Thank you very much. I think I have a thing for Sheikh. Please, one thing I want us to look at is the issue of Makaranta and trafficking. It's happening a lot. I've worked on it in Senegal, Pakistan, and even Ghana. Last week, the same thing. So let's try and find a way we can lose our Makaranta system in such a way that children will not be trafficked through the same system. Thank you very much. The other one is that I wish that every church, mosque, traditional place will have a poster about something on modern slavery there.
Thank
It will
you.
be so good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mine is one, as the soldiers fighting on the side of preventing modern slavery. One, we need to offer support to the survivors. Whatever support that can come their way, some require material support, others require educational support just to go back to school, others require psychosocial support. Please let us offer that. The second thing is we need, as the advocates of ending modern slavery, we must build trust with the citizens. We
Thank
must
you.
build trust with other players, both the duty bearers, those in the government, and those in the society. So trust building is very, very key. The third point is that we need to value the girl education. You will find that from my experience in Kenya, most girls who are married off at a early age is because of poverty. And many times, girls are married off so that the parents can pay school fees for the boy who is progressing with the education.
So we have to educate the girl child. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Franca.
Mine would be that faith leaders and community leaders to tap into their networks. I think one of the ladies at the back mentioned about in your places of worship to continue talking about it, but also across your networks. So whether it's, Prayer Friday, or whether it's, through, if it's the Catholic Bishops Conference or Anglican Alliance, faith leaders and community leaders have got incredible networks. So I would definitely tap into those.
Thank you very much, Enoch.
Okay, two things. The concerns about the exclusion of traditional leaders, practitioners of African traditional religion, and other segments of religious leaders. I want to say that the Challenging Heights has just completed an impact evaluation of the work of Global Freedom Network in the last 10 years. And this is captured in the recommendations presented to them, and we hope this is going to be addressed in the next phase of their work. Finally, I want to ask that CSOs and NGOs should synergize our efforts in the utilization of awareness raising and then capacity building initiatives so that we can optimize the impact towards our quest to end modern slavery in our various communities. Thank you.
Synergy of efforts. Yes, Bawa.
Okay, before that, permit me some 10 seconds to say a big thank you to the founder, who doubles as the president, as well as the moderator of our session, Dr. James Kofi Annan, as well as his team, for bringing birth to Challenger Heights, an organization that has touched a whole lot, including me, as well as the 100 people who couldn't even make it here. On behalf of myself and then those at home, I want to say a very good thank you to you and then the team at large.
Thank you to myself. Thank you. And yeah, before we go quickly, my wrap-up question. You see, I was trying to draw a certain theme. There is no way everyone can come into this room. So there's no way, even if you say you are only bringing Christians, you can't bring all the representatives. If you say you are going to do only Muslims, you can't bring all the Muslim sects because there are so many of them. The issue here is, what are we going to do after educating ourselves and building our capacity? In this country, it's always only a few people. You will see them in the media talking about it. And those of us who are always in the media talking about it, we receive all the bash, all the death threats. But if all of us from here should go and talk about it, you will see that the chances of being attacked or smeared will be low. And those who we wish would have been here will hear the message and not necessarily have to always be here. So I'm appealing to all of us. As we leave this room, let us not leave the room empty. Let us go with the message so that everyone that we wish to be here will hear the message and doesn't have to come here. Thank you very much, and thank you to all of you. Thank you. Photo.
So our moderator and the panelists will step forward to take a photo.